Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Force here with some more Hearthstone. Today we'll be taking a look at the Beef Stew Murloc Warlock deck. I found this via Reddit from a guy named Andrew who took the deck from a legend ranked player by the name of Cloak. It is a hyper aggressive Murloc aggro deck capable of consistent turn 4 or 5 wins. We've got some of these strong Warlock starters like Blood Imp and Flame Imp, an abundance of Murlocs such as the Tidecaller and Tidehunter, and then some finishers thanks to the Murloc Warleader and Old Murk-Eye. Now with the general premise out of the way, let's take a look at the deck in action. Okay, so here's the deal. I played this deck last night on my stream, and I went from rank 10 to my current rank 6, fairly easily. I want to say about a 75% win ratio. This deck was just ultra effective. Now the big thing with this deck is your opening hand is very important. Now because I'm playing against another Warlock, I am actually happy with my opening hand. I'm going to be able to start with the taunt. If he plays something big, I can Sergeant into it to kill it off, and we also have the Leper Gnome. Picking the proper opening hand, not only for good synergy and to have it be effective, but also depending on who your opponent is and how you feel you should play against it. Doing all of that is very important. I'm also potentially thinking of the Leper Gnome instead of the thing. No, yeah, let's actually go with the Leper Gnome just in case, because he's not likely to have anything with charge here. So, you know, playing against another Warlock, I'm fairly certain of what I'm going to get. At least up in this ranking, almost all Warlocks that I've played against have been some variation of an aggro. Okay, so this is actually pretty okay. What I'm going to do here is we'll go with the Voidwalker to deal with this, and then we're going to put down a second Leper Gnome. I'm not going to use this until I really want to push into another minion, or go straight for my opponent's face. Now, we talked about how this is a Murloc deck. You've seen very little Murloc so far. In fact, you've seen no Murlocs at this point. But the deck has just, it feels like the perfect amount of Murlocs that synergize so well together to really do some crazy work. All right, he's gonna be dropping 3, and he's gonna Demon Fire that will do 2 damage to my minion. And does he have a Mortal Coil? No, he's gonna be dropping his shield to finish it off. Okay. Alright, so he threw a lot there at my guy, and what we're going to be doing this turn is likely killing both of his things, and we're going to give this a shot here. This might not work, but let's see if it does. Let's see if we can hit that. Oh, you know what I should have done? I should have attacked into that first. Luckily, though, it ended up working out for us. We're going to be able to trade this here. That was a mistake, though. I should have attacked his minion first. It would have given a greater percentage chance for me to hit his 1-1. Again, it ended up working out okay for us, though. So now at this point, we do have board control. He's got more cards in our hand, but we have life tap. And you're going to be wondering, okay, so you're saying, you're looking at this game and you're saying, Force, you know, you're just playing against another, we're going to have this go straight for his face, actually. This right here. You're gonna say you're just playing against another Warlock. How does this do against other decks? Like, how does this do against decks that aren't also aggro? It's done very well, but you can see in this game, we're doing exceedingly well. He is now down to 8, and we have got the kill next turn in play. I don't know what to tell you. You can watch the stream from Twitch yesterday. This deck has just been ridiculous. This was a quick win. Most of the games that I've played have been fairly quick wins. You can see here's a win streak bonus. This is my first game played today, so that win streak is a carryover from last night's stream. And you didn't even get to see any of the Murlocs, but you got to see how effective this deck is. So there you go, let's go ahead and take a look at the deck list now. Now I'd like you to remember that these spotlight videos are just meant to be a quick look at the deck and briefly talk about general concepts and show the deck list. You're gonna be able to see a multitude of games in the follow-up video, which is the gameplay video. But honestly, that last game was not a far cry from how a lot of games go with this deck. Fairly quick, hyper aggressive, and you're usually winning pretty fast. That's how it has worked the most times. Now, I'll talk with you a little bit about how it can work with a Murloc opening hand. We decided to keep a non-Murloc opening hand because of our opponent. A great example is if I'm playing a Paladin, a lot of times I'll mulligan looking for a Murloc opening hand because most Paladins don't have a super strong early game. There are some Divine Shield Pally decks, but even those are slower in their early game compared to a deck like this. So here we go. We've got the Soulfire. This is pretty much just a finisher card or for picking off creatures. Abusive Sergeant for pumping up other guys. Our strong Murloc starters, such as the Blood Imp and Flame Imp, it's sort of hilarious when you go second with this deck and you get the coin, look at how many 1-drops. The deck is primarily 1-drops. So a lot of times when you go second, you're dropping 2 creatures on your first turn. It can be hilarious, doing like a coin for a Blood Imp and a Flame Imp. We've got the Grimscale Oracle, another great combo here with the Murloc Tidecaller. You can drop him in turn 1, coin into another Murloc, he becomes a 2/2, and then next turn potentially play 1 or 2 more Murlocs. You can even get 2 just off of the Tidehunter, pumping him up even further, and then pushing for, that could be like 4 damage easily on turn 2, just with the Tidecaller, plus the other creature that you played on turn 1 from the coin. Just the synergy in this deck is absurd. All right, so we've got 2 of the Grimscale Oracles pumping up all of the Murlocs, 2 of the Leper Gnomes, just because it's strong. It's perfect for this type of aggro deck. Murloc Raider, because it's a Murloc. Tidecaller pumping up off of the other Murlocs you play. Voidwalker, really crucial actually at protecting your creatures early game from stuff like what we saw the Warlock play last game, a Divine Shield unit. We've got the Young Priestess, helps to offset the weakness of this type of a deck, which is low health minions dying to board wipes. The Young Priestess plus the Flame Imp as well as the Murloc Warleader can really help combat that, and I've done quite well against decks with board wipes with this deck. Bluegill Warrior, because it's a Murloc in charge, that's some fast damage. Knife Juggler, because why not? With all the 1-drop creatures in this deck, you can usually get a few knives off. The Tidehunter, double Murlocs, 2 for 1, what a deal. Coldlight Seer to pump up the health of your other Murlocs, again, offsetting the weakness of this. So there's a lot of things. Coldlight Seer, Warleader, Young Priestess, and the Blood Imp all offset the low health of your minions. The Warleader and the Old Murk-Eye, the most expensive cards in this deck. The other thing with this deck is it is fairly inexpensive, and while the Warleader is pretty crucial, I would say that you could do without the Old Murk-Eye. You could replace this with maybe another Soulfire, because the point of the Old Murk-Eye is for pushing through that extra damage. So another Soulfire or Power Overwhelming could replace the Old Murk-Eye, and then all of a sudden the most expensive card in the deck is the Warleader. But even at least that's not a legendary. So it's a moderately priced deck compared to a lot of the top end decks, and it is hyper effective. It's been super good in the current metagame. This thing's performed absurdly well for me. So I would say if you're on a budget, you don't have the Old Murk-Eye, easily replace that. If you don't have the Warleader, that kind of sucks because there's a lot of games that you win easily with a Warleader, but you could probably replace it with some other aggro and still do okay. I feel like, especially in the lower ranks, this deck should probably do very, very strongly. Alright guys, that's going to do it for the Spotlight video. Stay tuned for the gameplay video. We'll probably be playing at least 3 or 4 games just because of how quick these games typically go with this deck. But like I said, man, the proof's in the pudding. You just saw a game and you saw how quick I won. And like I said last night, I went fairly quickly from rank 10 to my current rank. And that's kind of a big deal in the new ranking system, because it's hard to gain rank in the new ranking system, losing stars every time you lose. But that's it. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the gameplay video coming up. If you like the content, please subscribe. Taking a look here at the Beef Stew Warlock Murloc deck. Very good. I like it. Keep watching and keep owning.